Singapore Slums and Renewal, an intriguing case study. This case study provides an overview of how the Singapore slums and urban renewal process worked through a series of legislative, policy, and government organizational reforms in Singapore. It highlights three developments along Singapore's urban waterfront carried out during different periods. Scoping for the renewal of Singapore slums and urban areas. The Singapore achieved self-governance in 1959. There was a housing shortage in the overcrowded city and overpopulated Singapore slums issued due to an influx of immigrants. Despite the problems of the Singapore slums, the government did not create an urban renewal program. Instead, worked to establish an effective system of urban governance and reorganizing the planning and housing development agencies. They created a centralized, single-tier government, which helped expedite decision-making. Two new authorities, the Planning Department and the Housing and Development Board, HDB, were set up in 1960 to take over the Singapore Improvement Trust's land use planning and public housing provision responsibilities. Singapore is both a city and a state, requiring effective governance and integrated long-term planning to attack a balance between economic, social, and environmental goals in its urban national ground. Since 1959, the government recognized the need for a comprehensive planning framework to guide for providing affordable housing for Singapore, slums, and urban redevelopment. The planning framework at that time was based on the conservative 1958 Master Plan, which inhibited urban growth and development. Singapore sought urban planning technical assistance from the United Nations, UN, which resulted in the division of the city into 21 planning precincts and initiated the idea of private participation. UN experts advocated a strategy of Singapore slums and urban renewal, which paved the way for the first such initiatives in the city in 1966. The 1958 Master Plan and the subsequent Master Plan reviews up until the 1990s served only to update developments that existed or had already been approved. Institution for the development of Singapore slums and urban areas. Being a city-state, Singapore has a centralized, single-tier government. Planning and development policies are generally made at a national level, without a separate layer of local government. The Ministry of National Development, MND, is the key ministry responsible for national land use planning and development. Several autonomous government agencies or statutory boards support it, each with their own specific missions and area of purview. Financing. Financing and budgeting is done as part of a whole-of-government approach in Singapore. Implementation of the renewal of Singapore slums and urban areas. Government expenditure is categorized into operating and development expenditures for the Singapore slums. The Development Fund in particular provides funding for the government's direct development expenditures undertaken by the ministries. Implementation of the renewal of Singapore slums and urban areas. By 1965, the government had achieved a breakthrough in its post-autonomy public housing initiative. The HDB had completed 54,430 units, exceeding the target of 51,031 units for HDB's first 5-year building program. At this time, 2 of Singapore's precincts, N1 and S1, were identified for priority redevelopment. This early urban renewal effort was characterized by extensive public construction programs.